Hello and welcome to our third edition of the Google Plus PR Expert Community Hangout. This week I actually get to feature myself. I guess because I'm in charge of the Hangouts, I get to do those sorts of things, so that's kind of fun. But more importantly, I wanted to share a process that I thought others could find useful, and it involves the process I go through when I'm creating a social media editorial calendar for the work I do at Tracky and previously work I did with other clients. I actually use Tracky and used Tracky prior to working with them, so that's the platform I'm going to show you in. If you use another project management or social collaboration tool, you're welcome to take what I share with you here and implement it into your own tool. And if you're currently using emails, Excel spreadsheets, and Google Docs and instant messages to plan and execute your content, hopefully you find this to be a more collaborative and enjoyable way, also more efficient way to execute the content that you want to share. I'm happy to answer questions after this chat, and of course it will be recorded, edited, and shared live on my YouTube channel, and you can follow up with questions afterwards by emailing me, sarah@tracky.com. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and go into, and I first want to show you, hopefully that's showing up, okay. What I first want to show you is this calendar view, which is something that we use all the time for Tracky. If you're a WordPress user, you might currently use a WordPress editor plugin, and it gives you something of a similar view for that, so you can plan and schedule content. Well, we actually do this through Tracky and have a calendar view, and it's a shared calendar just among team members that I bring in who are going to be collaborating with us. Even if that's someone who's going to be guest posting, they are brought into the process, and I'll actually show you that process. But first I wanted to show you the view. So you can see here content. This is actually a mock view that I put together just for this Hangout, because I don't want you to see all of our content, because that would spoil all the great surprises we have coming up. But it's really easy, because if I had a post scheduled for Monday, and let's say I thought it wasn't going to work and I want to put it on Wednesday, I can easily drag and drop that content. I can also click on that content and see who is assigned to this. Since this is a mock track that I set up within Tracky, you can see that there isn't anyone assigned to it yet. So I can find people that I work with frequently. I'm actually assigning myself this. I'm going to assign Jennifer Goss and David Goss to be part of this track. And you know what? I'll just throw everyone in, because who doesn't need another task to work on? So this is something that would be due today, and it's promotion of, or actually on Monday, promotion of an interview I just did with Cox Communications on Blog Talk Radio. I'm the one who's going to be writing the content, so I'm going to mark myself as lead for this track. If I actually want to start working on writing my posts, this is one of my favorite parts about, oh, and see, Jennifer's collaborating real time. It was just notified that she's in this, so she can either respond via email or respond via Tracky that she wants to help. I'm going to say you. So we use this discussion area to talk about ideas for the post. So we'll put links that are important. Jennifer I know that she just drag and dropped an image in here. So let's say you're writing your post and you want to make sure that you have attachments available for the people who are going to be uploading, or if it's you that's going to be uploading, we actually put all of that content here, so it all lives here. As we start to work on the document, I'm going to say awesome blog post, so I know that it's a test. By going to create new file within Tracky, it's actually going to pull up a Google document that's now fixed to that track that anyone in the track can work on, and it's updated real time. So you're not dealing with different versions and renditions of a single document. It's extremely helpful, especially being part of a small but mighty team, because we're working on lots of content in short amount of time, and we need to plan it as effectively as possible. So because I have a due date set up, I now am notified via Tracky when it's coming close to due date, and Jennifer was also creating a document, but I can see who created which document at what time, so there's no issue of having to go through any type of file saving process, because I can see exactly when things were uploaded. And you can see other team members are now joining in because I moved them into this track. So this all starts from within a group. It's Tracky Editorial Calendar. And as long as there's not a delay, I'm going to click again so you can see that that's how I switch to the view calendar. I can see people that are assigned to each task in here and which group that it lives in. But more so than just the planning of our editorial calendar, everything that we do lives in Tracky or your project management platform of choice. So the reason I created this mock group for this Hangout today is because our public relations tactics actually all live in a single group, and I didn't want to overwhelm you. But here's a look at our PR group. And I can still click on a calendar mode in this group, but it has much more than just our editorial calendar. It has everything coming up in or around PR tasks. So I think I'm getting a few messages that people might not be able to see me. I'm hoping that that is just a random technical difficulty, but again, this will be edited and shared after the chat. So this is our overall public relations group, and I can click on different tasks that we have going on those days. As part of our editorial calendar, it's not just content that we are creating for our blog. We are actually doing several different things. I like how Jennifer's putting fun images in there. We have a research, stats, and articles track. And what that is a compilation of anything that we may want to write about, fun stats, other blog posts that we'd like to link to, articles that support what we're doing in project management and open social collaboration. Our team, instead of emailing them to one another, actually drags and drops or uploads or copies and pastes links into this single track. It lives in our PR group, so then when I'm creating content, I can reference this track to see if there's anything that supports what we're going to be creating for that following week or for that day. We also have urgent media opportunities. Much of what we do in the media relations world is both reactive and proactive, and some just come in last minute. That's just the nature of the beast. So we keep a track where we talk about urgent media opportunities and when they're going to run. We really utilize this for HARO, helpareporterout.com. We have an entire process dedicated to our editorial content for HARO queries. So as content comes in, I'm going to actually show you what this looks like. I'm going to go to our search function here because I would never remember where anything goes. I'm going to show you an example. So all of our HARO pitches live in this urgent media query group. So what you're actually seeing is a track here. And we actually put the name of the query here, where it came from, always at the beginning, if it's urgent or super urgent in this case, the title of what we're looking for, the outlet, and then who is responsible for it. In the discussion area, that's where we put details like the reporter, the HARO email address, when it's due. Of course, we put it in as a due date here also. And then our team talks back and forth. If we're working on the pitch, we can do it all from the discussion area here. And then if we need to create a separate attachment, of course, we can do that. But then I go ahead and write the pitch and send it to the reporter. Sometimes I'll just bring them into the track so they can see everything. And afterwards, I will attach the pitch that I sent to that reporter. And if that piece runs, I'll include a link in here and then mark it complete so we can see that it's been through the entire process. But this is actually part of our social editorial calendar. We're not always just creating unique content. Sometimes we're responding to media queries. And when that content runs, we're doing what we call call-out posts on our blog. So we're celebrating the fact that we had a media hit, and then we're actually posting that content on our blog and sharing that via social entities. So just so you can see, I'm going to go backwards and go to what's called the parent track. And this is where all of the tracks related to urgent media opportunities live. And I love this because if I'm working on a similar pitch for another outlet that we already had done in the past, I can go and find the archives of every single media pitch that we've had since I started working with Tracky. I can also see where pitches are coming in from. One came in from LinkedIn, a reporter reached out to me on Twitter, and then of course all of our HARO queries are here. And it's also another place we can easily find media hits. Don't mean to make this a Tracky infomercial, but it is the collaboration tool that I use. There's a filtering functionality, and there's also a category tagging functionality. So if I'm looking for something and I can't remember where a pitch is, it's much easier than searching email because I can search things like media, urgent, or HARO and find all of the HARO queries that we've done via another search functionality. So that's really helpful for us, and especially me when I'm planning content. So urgent media opportunities are also part of our content strategy in addition to the unique content that we're producing. We also include guest post opportunities, so places that we want to guest post, places either that align with what Tracky does or people who guest post on our blog. So this is something else that lives in the PR group once again. You can see the same 3 people are highlighted here. And there are subtracks here. So you can see all of our previous guest posts, one on SEO Moz, one for Brian Solis, one for Deirdre Breckenridge, one at Launch Up Vegas. So these are the collaborative process here. Here's where we went through and talked about what we wanted the post to look like. We did a review process here, back and forth editing via one Google Doc, and I was able to send that off to Brian to post on his blog. So that's another arm of our social content. Once that post went live, I had it slotted on that month's calendar, and then we did a call-out post on the Tracky blog, and then we did all the social sharing as well. And I'm actually going to show you how we socially share from Tracky as well. So that's another arm of our social content. So far you've seen how we do some planning with our research stats and articles, urgent media opportunities, guest post opportunities, and you've seen a bit of what our social media editorial calendar and outreach looks like. But I'm going to show you our official. I showed you the mock one, the one I created just for this. I'm going to give you a little snippet here. So this is the actual social media EdCal and outreach process that we use. In the discussion area, we list all of our earned and paid social tactics of how we promote our posts so that we can get the most bang for the buck with everything that goes live. Being the crazy person I am, we also have a press release process flowchart for sustainability purposes. So if I were to leave this role or someone else new were to come in, they can see very easily how we actually execute on our press releases. I've got the best times of day and days of the week to post our content. And Jennifer has posted some other content that's very helpful for us as a team. Since I've started, I actually have our editorial calendar broken out by week, so I can go back to the week that I started and at least started the social media editorial outreach and see exactly what we have planned for every day of that week. Let's just take a look at this week. And we don't necessarily post every day of the week, although that is our ultimate goal. If we can do 3 days a week, that's amazing, plus a land and urgent or reactive or proactive media query that supports our efforts. So you can see during this week, every Thursday, we highlight a customer case story and case studies. So we've got more of our team members that are in this track for the week, and we all collaborate and identify a customer, and we bring the customers into the tracks since they're already using Tracky, and they can collaborate with us on telling their stories. Later this week, actually tomorrow, Jennifer is writing a post on the common fears of social collaboration. You can see here I'm launching a post recognizing Power Women of Vegas Tech that'll launch on Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday are already complete. Monday was a recap from the Guy Kawasaki Hangout, and in here I was taking notes during his Hangout. Jennifer was taking notes in here, and then once I edited the video, I put a link to it here, also the embed code, so I could copy and paste all from one place and publish it to our blog. Now that is one way to use all of this content, but another could be actually sharing from within Tracky. Let's say you weren't necessarily going to publish to a blog, but wanted something that could be crawled by search engines and support your efforts. You can actually share to social networks from within Tracky. You can share on Twitter, you can share on Facebook. It's integrated with Buffer, so that includes LinkedIn, and you can schedule and get analytics. You can also email a copy of a track to the interwebs. Everything by default within Tracky is private, but we actually have 3 levels of privacy, if you will. Secret, where it's only visible to a few people within a group. Private, it's available to all members of a group. And then public, so that anyone can see it. It actually has a default, so if you click public, it makes you say, yes, I'm really sure this is public, and you can share it out with the world. So you could actually reduce the number of steps it takes to publish content to the web, all from within Tracky. So more so than just socially sharing that way, we have our list of tactics that I showed you just a bit ago in our discussion. I want to get back there. Let's see, here we go, discussion. So we know if I'm bringing people in and it's a really big article, let's say we got something in Wired Magazine or Mashable, and we really want to maximize the post, I can come here and copy and paste the posts or tactics that I want to include, and I can actually set up subtracks to support that article and assign people on my team to get them out. So it takes a little bit more effort to pre-plan and get your tactics in place, but when those articles run, we know that it's really important to get tweets and likes and Google pluses around that article, both for SEO purposes, to support our company, but also we want to reward the outlets who are writing us and promote and share and ultimately drive more people to our site. So since all these earned and paid tactics live here, I can simply come in here, copy and paste, and move them into whatever track that I'm working on. So I know this is new, especially if you're seeing Tracky for the first time, or if you're new to project management platforms in general. This can be a bit overwhelming. But prior to this, I was using a combination of email, Skype, Evernote, email, Google Docs, Calendar, and instant message. And that got really overwhelming, and I couldn't be as productive as I actually knew I could be and I wanted to be. And as a team, we've reflected on productivity, and we're actually able to get more done now with a smaller number of people than anything that I've ever worked on before. So we actually have instant messaging within Tracky. So as I'm working on a project, and let's say I'm in a group or anything, anyone with a green dot on, I can instant message them. So I can see David from my team is there. I'm just going to say hello. So if I'm working on something, I don't have to go to email or go to a separate instant messaging platform or Skype to talk with them. I can talk with them directly through here. If I want to reach all members of my group, so everyone that's part of the Tracky PR team, I can simply send a message here. So I don't, again, have to go to email. This will notify them via email, but I don't have to go to a separate place to do that. And see, David already messaged me. I'm going to see if you, I don't know if you can see my email if I pull it up. Just ignore everything else that isn't Tracky. I want to show you, give it just a minute to load. I want to show you what a Tracky notification looks like. So this is the mock track I was showing you in Tracky. This is the email update. Once somebody updates within, it actually sends me email notification of everything that has changed in it. And I actually don't have to go back to Tracky to update it. I can simply click reply here and say, woot. And once I reply, it automatically updates in line in this conversation that was started within the track. So it's a very streamlined process as we're planning our social editorial content. I don't have to keep moving back and forth between different platforms. I can stay primarily within Tracky and in the main browser tools that I use. As we're planning our content, I also wanted to show you, it's not just about using buffer within. Since we actually publish to another blog, we want to push out content that actually supports that blog. And you can see here, we schedule out about a week in advance via buffer posts, not only for our blog, but we're also sharing other third-party endorsements that support things that we either hypothesize or believe to be true for project management, social collaboration, and that support the entrepreneurial spirit. So interspersed throughout here are blog posts that we've written so that we can repurpose them and keep giving them traction, but also other posts from other news outlets. Like here's one from eMarketer. Brands look to take control of negative social media buzz. So we know that that's something that we want to talk about in conversation, so we'll use a third party that supports what we're saying. But then right after that, later that day, this post will come out, putting an end to the email trail, even for the most complex projects, which is a post that I wrote for the Tracky blog, and you can see that it drives right here. And I've got buffers set up for all of our Facebook and Twitter entities, so it makes it really easy. That's a tool that I really can't live without. And then to support our Google Plus sharing, if you watched the Guy Kawasaki Hangout, we actually also use Do Share, which is a Chrome extension, and I'll put a link to both in the recap that we do. So this is an example of the post that we wrote on the back end within Tracky. We actually shared it via Tracky, and then we repeat share via Buffer. So it's all in here, because I am all about eliminating email. I don't know about you, but I think that's one of the reasons that we're actually able to get more done from an editorial standpoint. If you have questions about how we actually pick editorial content and how I actually select that content, I try to find and model the life cycle of our customer, things that are happening based on the types of customers and clients that we have at any given time. So it might be, just a very high level example, it's springtime. So we might do something on spring cleaning for your online profiles or spring cleaning for email, and create content around that. But then we also will watch for trends and questions from customer support, from tweets, and we'll write posts that support what our clients want. But then we're also giving them content that they may not know that they wanted, like that work is broken, and we believe that you shouldn't be drowning in email and trying to organize your personal, your professional, and your social life in 25 different apps and platforms. So we'll teach people how to bring it all together via work and life hacks that we really believe in and test out. All of us who work at Tracky have all experienced other project management and social collaboration platforms. It's why we all kind of came together around this particular product. But I've always been a productivity junkie and user, and always looking for a better way to do things. So when you open up Tracky, it's not that it's a magic fix for you. It's much like opening up a Word document. It's this blank canvas, but you have to create it for what you want. So if you know that social editorial calendar process isn't working for you, or you don't have a strong one and you really want to boost those efforts, looking at something like the calendar powered by Tracky, it makes life easier, at least for our teams. And we are more than happy to sit down and walk you through this process so you don't have to try to remember it all from this hangout, but merely wanted to show you a way that works for us and the clients that we work with. So we've taken what was more of a complex project for everyone from agency life to higher education, and we're working with them to create better ways to tell their stories, maximize the bandwidth that they have for each employee, and get better stuff done. You can see up here a notification just came in. So as I'm working, I can see that Jennifer sent an update. Let's see if it will open and if there isn't a delay. So Jennifer says you can also use the iPhone app to get notifications and update content or Tracky in any mobile browser, which is also great. I'm on the go a lot, and I've got my iPad and my iPhone with me, so I get push notifications on my phone anytime something's updated. So it really minimizes the amount of time I have to spend in email trying to keep up with the amount of content that we're trying to produce and get out. And Jennifer and I actually collaborate quite frequently, even when we're coming up with how we're going to buffer articles. We collaborate with what articles we actually want to share out there, so we'll come up with ideas in that research and stats track and start getting that in the works. So our social editorial calendar isn't just the unique content that we create for the Tracky blog. There are also my social entities for Sarah's Faves and Twitter and JernChat and other people who are on our advisory board. So we try to utilize all of those platforms as much as possible, and then our proactive and reactive media hits that we're going to repurpose, urgent media queries that come in last minute, guest post opportunities, and then third-party sharing of other content that support the efforts that we are doing. So that was 30 minutes or less sharing our social content. I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share and allow people to ask questions if they would like. And I'm happy to answer anything. Hi, everybody. I haven't seen you yet. Please ignore my crazy personal home office space. And happy to take questions. Just unmute your microphone, and I'll be here for a few more minutes to do that. And then we'll be editing this Hangout and sharing it with the wider world. I'll edit out the awkward silence.
This wasn't, hey, it's Amy. Hi.
Hi.
This wasn't a question so much as there's a couple of different posts that I do every week, and I've just started using Tracky really, and so I'm nowhere close to where you were talking about, but one is infographics, and there's two of them, and I just sort of call them twinfographics, and I always try to find like a twin image that goes with it. And on Friday I do like a 5 links post and always have like an image of 5, and it was such a pain because I would just sort of forget, and each week have to go on Flickr and Creative Commons and find those images. So what I do now is I'll like pull like 5 or 6 of them at once and just upload them all into subtracks that I have on Tracky of those, and I include the link information and basically everything that I need to post it. And so when it's time, and then I remove it from Tracky when I'm done, so that way I know I've already used that one, so it's, you know, it's just removed from there. And so that's just that alone, even though technically it takes more time because I'm downloading it and then uploading it there and putting all the information in there, I'm doing it at a time where I don't really have to focus on it except to just get that basic information. And I just have my laptop while I'm watching TV or something. And then when I need it, I don't have to go and find it and pull it out and do all that work then. I just have to take the one off the top of the list and put it up, and it's done. So it was just an interesting thing that I just found that it was useful for.
That's awesome. You know, another thing that you could do with those subtracks is upload one to upload one image to each subtrack, and schedule a date for it, and then just mark it complete when you're done. Also, if you're looking for ways to not have to delete it when you were done. But I love that. If anyone else who's on here is actually already a Tracky user, I'm lucky that Amy's here and is a power user. You're welcome to share your story or advice, or if you have the editorial planning process, if you have a best practice tip or tool that you'd like to share, whether it's how you research content, how you create your content, or you can ask me questions about that as well. It doesn't have to just be about the platform that we use to create it.
So Sarah, I know with myself, and it's not just Tracky, obviously, because we love it and we work on Tracky all the time, but for me, when I'm writing, like it's not usually like what Amy was discussing in the moment. You don't just schedule a post and then the inspiration strikes right at the time when you're supposed to write that post. And so for me, I usually set up kind of a brainstorming track, and it's just basically blog ideas, and I kind of along the lines of what Amy was discussing is putting in ideas, research, images, and fleshing out this content. And what happens is, because I'm inspired in that moment, I'm saving it in the same place where I'm actually going to do that work and that writing. And so I find that I actually create for myself more content than I would have otherwise. Because when you schedule a post and it's a topic, you're writing about a specific topic, you usually just focus in on that post. But when you're letting yourself feel creative throughout the day as you read and research and talk to people, but you're storing it back to one place, there's more ideas that usually come from that. So I find that having one place where I have that inspiration, but I'm also doing that writing, that editorial part, and collaborating with other people helps me reduce the amount of writing I actually have to do when it comes time to post something, because I've been more creative in those moments compared to in that moment where I have to post something, in that hour or whatever. So for me, that kind of helps, is like a blog inspiration, post inspiration, track, storing everything in there. And then I also find that I have topics that, I didn't expect to write about come out of that sort of creative process. So that's something what I do.
That is such a great tip, Jennifer, and that's something I take for granted. I think that as you and I have been working together, and the fact that we do that, it really doesn't take as long to produce that content, because you and I have done our due diligence prior to the time when I start writing. It really does make a difference, and we make it a priority. So it's not just a one-off of my job title. It's essential to the job that I do here. So it is a priority, but we'll have already started the work on 5 different blog posts for the next week or 2 weeks. So it's really easy once we get in to write, because the images that I need are there, the research is there, my one-off notes and other tidbits are all living in one place. So that's a great tip. Anyone else with questions or tips or a random joke that they'd like to share? All right, I will take this silence as that our Hangout has ended. I will be opening up for more questions after the chat, and we will put those in a recap blog post on the Tracky blog. I thank everyone for sharing. I thank everyone for sharing their time here today. It really means a lot, and it shows that you're all looking for better ways to do things for your organization, and I think that's really admirable, and you're the doers of the world. So please let me know if you have questions after, and I look forward to seeing you on Tracky and Twitter and wherever else we live online. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.